I'm standing in South Portland in front of the Sellwood Bridge here behind me. You probably heard a lot about this bridge. It has a lot of problems, and we as a community have to decide the fate of this bridge. Today I'm going to give you an up-close look at some of the problems facing this bridge and talk to you briefly about some of the steps we're taking today to make this a safe bridge. So come with me and we'll take a tour. You don't have to put on the hard hat just yet. There's two major problems with the current Sellwood Bridge, and both of them have to do with ancient history. 80 years ago, when the Sellwood Bridge was built, it was actually part of a package that funded 3 bridges. The problem was they started to run out of money. When they built the Burnside Bridge, it went way over budget. That only left $500,000 to build the Sellwood Bridge. So they built a very light span. In an effort to save money, when they built the Sellwood Bridge, they built a light deck, and it's supported by only 2 rows of girders. Most modern bridges have far more than that. The second problem is the land that we're actually standing on. The Sellwood Bridge was built on the side of a ferry. The ferry was put there because this is the narrowest part of the Willamette River in this area. Well, what they didn't know at the time was it was narrow because it's the site of an ancient landslide. So the land that we're standing on is actually moving, the west side of the bridge. And you see the impact on the way that the columns are out of alignment under the bridge. I'm standing on the west side of the Sellwood Bridge. Behind me are 2 columns that are actually out of alignment. If you look at the bottom of the columns and compare them to the top of the columns, you can see that they've actually moved a considerable distance. The reason for that is because the land on the west side of the bridge is moving slowly towards the river. Over the last 80 years, cars and trucks have gotten a lot bigger and a lot heavier. That, combined with 8 decades of use, has definitely taken a toll on the Sellwood Bridge. If you look very closely behind me where I'm pointing, you can see that there's actually some cracks that have been repaired by our engineers. In the early 1980s, we reduced the weight limit on this span to 32 tons. In 2003, when these cracks were discovered, we took the difficult position of lowering the weight limit again to just 10 tons. Reducing the weight limits has stopped the cracking and bought us some time until we can find a final solution to repair or replace this bridge. Another challenge is real estate. If you look behind me, you see one of the most interesting things about the Sellwood Bridge that most people never notice. When you cross the Sellwood Bridge, you're actually driving right through the roof of an existing building. That happened because when they built the Sellwood Bridge, they couldn't afford to buy the land around it. This building behind me currently is an office building that's occupied by people who work every day, but it used to be a door factory. If you look very carefully, you can see that the columns from the Sellwood Bridge actually go right through the roof of the building. As you can see behind me, in recent years, residential development's been built right up against the bridge. No matter what we do to replace this bridge, it's going to impact somebody's property. So I'm standing on the top deck of the bridge now. You can see a lot of traffic behind me. Rush hour is just starting. This is the busiest 2-lane bridge in the entire state of Oregon. One thing you may notice right away is the sidewalk I'm standing on is very narrow. If a bicyclist or pedestrian comes, I'm literally going to have to jump out of the way. If you look down about 30 feet behind me, you can even see a light standard coming down into the sidewalk, and it only gives a few feet of clearance for bicycles or pedestrians. When we were under the bridge, I told you about how the land is actually moving towards the bridge. You can see the impact of the land pushing the bridge together. If you look down here, just past that do not pass sign, you can see that the railing of the bridge is actually sagging a full 6 inches. As you can see, this is a tough bridge for pedestrians and bicyclists, and a lot of people just don't feel comfortable trying to cross it, either by walking or riding their bike. And it's a very, very narrow bridge for cars and trucks as well. When we replace or rehabilitate this bridge, it's got to take into account the needs of all those different modes of transportation. By now, you're probably wondering, is it safe to use the Sellwood Bridge? Let me assure you, safety is our #1 concern, and anything we do to either fix or replace this bridge is going to focus first and foremost on safety. In the meantime, we're doing a number of things to keep the bridge open and safe for your use. By law, this bridge needs to be inspected every 2 years. In addition, we have our own independent engineers who inspect it every 3 months. The good news is that since we reduced the weight limitations, the cracks have stabilized on this bridge. There's much work that needs to be done to design and fund the bridge. If you want to know more information about this process or share your thoughts with us on the future of this bridge, please visit our website at sellwoodbridge.org. Thank you.